So, for example, when you sit down at the table, you should be really looking around, looking for people, what you think they're capable of. There are little things you can use, like how confident they are with their chips, how they act with other players, their body language. This is like stuff that'll help you make a decision. Because if a guy's like super confident, he's capable of more. Or if a guy's like doesn't look so confident, you're not really playing much with his, looks a little bit nervous with his chips, there's a good chance if he's betting, flop, turn, and river, by the river, he's going to have a really strong hand. It's unlikely he's bluffing. So knowing a little bit about your opponents and how they perceive you, little comments like, oh, I seen you on TV or whatever, all of a sudden he views you as a player and not just an amateur. So it kind of makes me think of a hand I played in EPT London. I was against Scott Seaver. He's a very well-known high-stakes player. He sat down at the table, and I don't think he really knew me. He might have seen me on the circuit, but he wouldn't perceive me to be, a high-stakes player as such. So this hand, we're only three-handed. We just started. I open the button with ace-6 of hearts. I make it like 250. I think it's only the first level. And he makes it 900 from the small blind, and the guy folds. So automatically, I think it's a little bit odd because they're a really big raise. But he could have a strong hand, but I really thought he might have been messing around here, trying to use his image to kind of like bully me and stuff. So I call, and it comes ace, king, 10. So okay flop for me. He c-bets like pretty small, like 750, I think. I call. Easy call for me in the flop. Now the turn is a 5, and again he bets again like 1300. So at this stage he's starting to get really polarized. I'd expect him to like check maybe pot control, some of his one pair hands, maybe bet a flush draw, but generally I expect it to be like really strong or really weak here. And then on the river the hand got really interesting. It paired the 4 again, and he bets 9.5k. So this is really, really weird. He bets like 3 times pot. Which is like really most of the time I'd be really worried here. But I used basically what I knew about Scott. I'd seen him play the big game on PokerStars, and like he was like really fearless. He wasn't afraid to bet really big with a lot of hands. He's a really top player. And I thought that he thought I wouldn't be capable of calling with just like a one pair hand, which I'm going to have very often. He underestimated like my thought, like maybe how I was thinking about the hand and stuff. So after like a few minutes, I tanked and called with ace-6. And he mucked his hand. So that was a really nice hand. It's a really good example of what we're talking about. Because I used the stuff I knew against him, that he was like a high-stake player, and I thought he was like really polarized on the river. He just tried to blow me off my hand, and he expected that I wouldn't be able to call with a one-pair hand. So I made the call. I mean, if I didn't know anything about him, I might have just folded the river. I mean, it's such a big bet. It's already betting like a third of his effective stack. We only start with 30k, so it's a huge bet. It's not like something I would normally do, play that size of a pot. But I just felt like with the way he plays and the information I knew about him, he wouldn't be afraid on the river to fire huge. So his thinking was that I have a one pair hand, and if he bets small, I'm just going to like side call. But if he bets this much, he thought I just couldn't call. And I thought this, and I decided to make the call. Just some ways to like counteract, especially when you're out of position, to a top player like Scott early in a tournament. So the first thing, and I know myself, playing against top players, the things I would even do. So the first thing you should probably do is tighten up pre-flop, because they're going to be flattening you a lot in position, and they're going to be making your life really difficult. So the first thing you want to do is play strong hands. That would be the number one tip. The second thing is don't have any fear. The one thing a top pros will see, they'll see any fear, and they'll really look to pounce on that. So don't be afraid. And also as well, leave your pride out of it. He's going to be aware that you're maybe an amateur player, and if he bets like a flop, turn, and river, there's actually the likelihood that he isn't bluffing, because he's well aware of his image. He didn't get to be a top pro by trying to random bluffs. So just be aware of that, and leave your pride away from the table.